and let not your heart be troubled. Pete Hegseth, my friend, my colleague, filling in for Laura. Now, I got to give you credit, and I've been giving you attribution and credit for the thought that, you know what, this mugshot that comes out tomorrow or whenever it comes out is going to be the #1 selling T-shirt and hat in the country, and it'll say underneath it, Trump 2024.
That's exactly right. T-shirt, dorm rooms, hats. It is a symbol. For sure. Sean, you come up with the idea.
Can I invest with you in this business that you're going to start? I'd like to get in on the action here.
Text me. You got my number. Let's do it. Deal.
All right. Have a great show, Pete.
Sean, thanks. Great show, as always. Appreciate it. As Sean mentioned, I'm Pete Hegseth in for Laura Ingraham tonight, and this is a special edition of the Ingraham Angle. It is official. The Trump show has returned to the Big Apple. The former president touched down in New York City late in the 3 o'clock hour today, and then with every news chopper in New York City on the scene, was whisked away in more than a dozen-car motorcade, presidential motorcade, you might say, to Trump Tower in Midtown Manhattan. Upon arriving, there was one quick shot of Trump entering the building. He gave a wave to supporters outside and then went up to his residence in the penthouse. Trump Tower is where we find our own Nate Foy. Nate, what is the latest? What can you tell us?
Well, Pete, right now things are pretty quiet here. The former president has not left the penthouse since arriving just after 4 p.m. East 56th Street, which is the side street where you can enter the Trump Tower, has been blocked off all day, and it's expected to stay blocked off tomorrow, as 13 hours from now, former President Trump is expected to head downtown for his arraignment. You mentioned the wave. Take a look at the moment that former President Trump arrived at Trump Tower. He waved at a group of about 24 supporters who waited all day for him to arrive here. He will leave tomorrow for his arraignment at about 11 a.m. There will be fingerprints. His mug shot will be taken, as you and Sean were just talking about, but he will not be wearing handcuffs, as that would pose a security threat for the former president. But speaking of security, former President Trump will be relying on the Secret Service to keep him safe, whereas the NYPD will be responding to any demonstrations that need attending to. There was a press conference earlier today where New York City Mayor Eric Adams said there's no specific threat that the city is worried about, but in the same sentence, he mentioned a specific threat that he's worried about. Listen here.
And although we have no specific threats, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is known to spread misinformation and hate speech, she stated she's coming to town. While you're in town, be on your best behavior. As always, we will not allow violence or vandalism of any kind.
Pete, that pro-Trump protest is expected to start at 10:30. The arraignment itself will start at 2:15. It's going to happen pretty quickly. It's not expected to take more than a half an hour or so. Sometime before 3 o'clock, the former president is expected to be heading back to the airport, where he'll fly back to Florida and then speak before the American people tomorrow night. We'll send it back to you.
Nate, thank you very much. Eric Adams says no violence tolerated in our city unless you're BLM and you want to burn down our blocks. Well, the Trump indictment hasn't been unsealed yet, but, or at least not officially, there's rumors of leaks. But the former president's legal team is already confident of their next steps.
I very much anticipate a motion to dismiss coming because there's no law that fits this. The Department of Justice turned this matter down. The FEC, which governs federal election laws, said there's no violation here. Yet somehow a state prosecutor has taken a misdemeanor and tried cobbled together to make it a felony by alleging a violation of federal campaign violations.
Joining me now, David Schoen, former Trump impeachment lawyer, and Saul Weisenberg, former assistant U.S. attorney and deputy independent counsel. Gentlemen, both, thank you so much for being here. David, let me start with you. You heard the optimism from the Trump camp. What are the chances something is quickly dismissed? And if not, what does the process look like?
Well, I think the chances I can't really predict, but I think that there are at least 3 motions that ought to be filed immediately after the arraignment. First of all, as to the process, you know, I've been through this with this judge on a high-profile case. They're going to process President Trump like they normally do, take certain pedigree information and so on. and then he'll go to Judge Merchan's courtroom. Judge Merchan usually allows a still photographer to take one picture while he's sitting at the defendant's table, and he will move through it pretty quickly. Question is whether at the arraignment they'll also set a motion schedule. That's kind of up in the air, I think. But they're going to unseal the indictment before the arraignment, so at least the lawyers can look at it then. I don't think there was any reason to seal it until now, but that's what they've chosen to do. But anyway, I think there are three motions they should file immediately after the arraignment. One is a motion to dismiss on statute of limitations ground. Very interesting arguments there. One would be a motion to dismiss and disqualify District Attorney Bragg, I think based on his campaign statements, specifically targeting President Trump and promising to convict him when he wasn't even under investigation. And third, I would personally move to recuse the judge. I think that there's monkey business going on with the judge shopping process, and I have an historic basis for making that claim. But we'll see. I don't think it's coincidental that he was a judge on the Trump Organization case and the Bannon case and now this case. And they, in the past, have acknowledged the practice of judge shopping.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it in this case. Saul, I got to get your take on this, though, because late tonight, just moments ago, Michael Isikoff reported, and this is just early reporting, that Donald Trump will be charged with 34 felony counts for falsification of business records, but he will not be put in handcuffs, as has been reported, placed in a jail cell, or subjected to a mugshot. So now they're saying no mugshot, no handcuffs, but 34 felonies. Saul, your reaction if that reporting is correct?
Well, you know, Spiky, Michael Isikoff, that's his nickname, usually gets his stories right. But like we've talked about on this show, you can gin up a prosecution, whether it be a misdemeanor or a felony, with a lot of counts. The key thing for people to watch for, Pete, is what is the substance here? Remember what the statute is: falsification of business records, which is a misdemeanor unless you're trying to cover up another crime. So take a look at what that other crime is. If it's a campaign finance violation, boy, that's an incredibly weak case for reasons I'd be happy to explain. But who knows? It could be something else. It could be state tax law. But the key is to look at, does it look like it's petty, or is it something really substantive?
Your reaction as well, David. If they really are foregoing a mugshot, that seems different. We heard reports of, 24 or 30 counts, not necessarily all of them felonies. If that reporting is correct, and again, we'll learn tomorrow, what's your reaction to how the judge will approach this and how both sides will?
Well, Saul's absolutely right. They often just jack up the number of counts. But I think this DA is too savvy to have this case just depend on Michael Cohen or the McDougal case. I think there probably will be some charges about business fraud, that sort of thing. But I'll tell you another issue that I think may come up tomorrow, and I'm concerned about, is the idea of a gag order. I'm, vehemently opposed to them.
Yeah.
I think they have First Amendment implications, Sixth Amendment implications, make it much more difficult to defend a case, to encourage witnesses to come forward, that sort of thing. And I think there's a great public interest in this case. New York law is pretty good on this. They have a pretty strict standard for it. The judge has to articulate specific findings. And I could see this judge coming in and talking about some of the posts that he's seen, and he's not going to put up with this and that. This is a judge who's very sensitive to the media presence there. And there have been a number of problems in the past because they don't use electronic filing in this court. It's all paper filing. The media's got to be very aggressive here in getting full access to all filings in this case and to resisting a gag order, and especially a gag order of the breadth that's being talked about in the press.
Saul, former President Trump has been very critical of this judge. I mean, can he get a fair hearing in a New York City courtroom considering what he's been up against?
Well, I don't know enough about this particular judge. David would know that. There's no reason to think that he can't get a fair hearing, but I think we need to watch it carefully. And I think that if there is a gag order, like David says might happen, you're going to immediately have heavy litigation on that. But something else your viewers should keep in mind is that in a criminal case, it's often very difficult to get the actual charges knocked off on a question of law alone. If it is based partly on fact, unfortunately, often they make the defendant go through a trial.
Interesting. Yeah. All right, tomorrow will tell us everything we need to know, at least initially. David and Saul, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, joining me now, Thank you. Joining me now is Harmeet Dillon, founder of the Dillon Law Group, a firm doing some legal work for former President Trump. Also with me, Victor Davis Hanson, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. Two great people to hear from tonight. Harmeet, your reaction to some of this information that's coming out, gag orders, mug shots, 34 felony counts, but also stepping back, and Victor, I'll ask you about this as well. The spectacle that was today, a president of the United States submitting to an indictment, and what will happen tomorrow?
Well, this is unprecedented, of course, and when you look at all the aspects of this that are unprecedented, I actually disagree with Saul about whether the former president can get a fair trial here, because remember how this district attorney actually came to office. Almost unprecedented in American history. He actually campaigned on the idea that if elected, he would make it his top priority to concoct some kind of a case against the former president. That is a very troubling crossing of a line that I think you're going to see repeated all over the country now in retaliation for this clearly politicized prosecution. The latest that I'm hearing from folks who've been in the mix there in New York today includes that there may not be a gag order, and as we talk about New York law, it actually looks at also whether a gag order would even be effective at this point. Here, again, there's been a campaign about this potential prosecution. It's been talked about in the press. It's been leaked to the press clearly, and so the judge may take the view that the publicity has already been had, and a curative restriction on media isn't going to have the effect necessary, plus all the negative aspects of that. But what I want to say finally about this is that we'll go through this process, and if the judge is being fair, I think this case should be dismissed. But if it isn't, then there are a number of, I think, defects with what we're hearing about this case. And setting that aside, what has been opened here is a Pandora's box of politicized prosecutions being touted and being had in this country, and that's incredibly disturbing for confidence in the rule of law.
No doubt. Victor, we've all pointed out the fact that this is unprecedented, but set the scene of what this says about the state of our republic and what it says about just us as a country.
Well, it means elections and politics are going to be settled by other means, and that's lawfare. What this does now is it's going to unleash every wannabe local or state prosecutor who wants to be a celebrity or has a political axe to grind or is in service for the national party to go after ex-presidents or anybody. And I mean, it's going to be a red-blue state divide. Any type of business that Hunter Biden or Joe Biden conducted that may be questionable in a red state, a local prosecutor could do this to embarrass the president. And when he comes out of office, there's going to be a lot of people go after him. And is this the type of tit for tat we want? We got to remember that they're destroying block by block the foundation of this country, the constitutional foundation. Mr. Trump was the first president to be impeached twice. We know now from his call and subsequent information about the Biden family syndicate, there was legitimate concern about their relationship with Ukraine and Hunter Biden's activity. He was the first president to be tried as a private citizen when he was out of office. He was the first president to have his home residence raided after he was out of office. And now he's the first president to be brought up on these charges, which most legal experts believe are superfluous. But more importantly, this is, if you put it in a longer context, I mean, this is not FDR having sexual relations with Lucy Mercer in the White House. It's not Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky in the White House. It's not JFK and Mimi Alford in the White House. This is 16 years ago, and with some private matter that may or may not have taken place, and was dragged up to continue this process. And when you look back at all of these incidents, Pete, there was no Russian collusion. The Hunter laptop Biden was not Russian disinformation. That was used to affect an election on its eve. There was the Mar-a-Lago raid was not a unique instance of a president taking out classified documents, because Joe Biden, without the authority to declassify them, put them in at least three residents with much less security. So in each one of these cases, in retrospect and post facto, there was no there. And so what are we doing? We're just trying to say that Donald Trump is coarse, or he's extraordinarily different, or he's not part of the establishment, and we're going to destroy him. And what it's going to pose an existential question to the Republicans. What do they do? They're the adult in the room. Do they have to reply tit for tat? Do they have to tear up the State of the Union address on national TV?
Yeah.
Do they have to deny minority representation on committees? Do they have to always threaten to get rid of the filibuster to bring in 2 new states? Is that what we've come to? To destroy the republic just for them to stop? It's really scary. It's scary.
It is really scary. That's incredibly important historical context. As we talk about what might happen tomorrow, it really is tectonic plates shifting under our republic. Great perspective from you both. Victor, Harmeet, thank you so much tonight.
Thank you.